During the entire time Kelnacca was away, he was training other Wookiees to be witches.
How do you lightsaber stab someone who's turned into smoke?
I have been on the Soul Patrol since day one.
Kelnacca was smoking some of the stuff he was finding, I guarantee you.
What's poppin', Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we talk all about Episode 7 of The Acolyte. So you already know what to do. Let's kick up that warp drive and let's punch this damn thing.
Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. I'm Whitney Van Laningham, and I am here today with my very good, very cool, very Jedi-rific friends, Tommy Bechtold, MT, and Ron Toothe from the Pod Awakens podcast. Hi, hello, how are you guys? How do you feel after that really wild episode of The Acolyte?
I was a Cub Scout, Whitney. And in order to earn merit badges, you often had to identify different types of plants and birds and creatures. And I often resented my masters, my den leaders. And so I totally understand Torbin's petulant behavior. I really related to Torbin on this episode. So I feel frustrated.
For all the pals out there, here's a little BTS information. For some reason, I kept getting a bunch of tweets about the moss on my timeline. And so I sent a bunch of them to MT and Tommy this morning, where I was just sending them moss memes for several hours. That's why he's bringing it up, folks. It's a dig at yours truly.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Hang on to your own moss meme. That was a playful scouting joke that I made based on my scouting experience.
Oh.
Penny, it is not all about you, sister.
I thought you were making fun of me.
Never. I was making fun of Torbin for picking up the moss.
We're all making fun of Mossman Gelbert, all right?
Yeah, we're making fun of
Mossman Gelbert over here.
Mossman Gelbert. No. I'm making fun of the Scouts of America. The Scouts.
Sick. All right. Glad we got that cleared up. Ron, how did you feel overall about the episode? Hot takes first and fresh off your mind.
So I feel like I kind of have to start here with a proclamation because, as you can see, by this very well-made...
Oh my God, what was that guy's name on American Idol?
Taylor Hicks.
Oh my God, Taylor Hicks of the Soul Patrol, I can't.
As we can see by this very well-made badge that I did not make 5 minutes before this show, regardless of what the haters may think. I have been on the Soul Patrol since day one, but I am here to tell you.
Oh
no
my
more.
God! Golden Rogue!
No more. He was on thin ice when he got my Jackie killed.
Oh, yeah.
Jackie was my favorite.
True.
But I don't know. I thought we were going to get some real redemption in this episode. And we did in some aspects for him. But I just, more so than not, I feel like I still kind of side with May on this. I held out for as long as I could as a member of the Soul Patrol.
Yeah.
And as we'll get into it, like, there was some stuff that was understandable, but more so than not, I don't know, guys. I feel like I'm not so pro Soul as I was here.
God damn it! You've had a change of soul, a soul shift in yourself, if you will.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, see, that's what I really like about this episode, because like we're getting to see the other side of things. Like it's definitely like a different perspective, a different point of view, and like this episode very much paints the Jedi as, you know, fearful people. Like they are flawed people. Like Torbin is like, I want to go home because the Jedi Temple is so cool. It's better than being in nature.
That is so Luke Skywalker coded, by the way. I want to go into Tashi Station to get the power converters. I want to go back to Coruscant.
He's also a little bit of a flirt. Like he really was like getting seduced by the head mother there. He was really getting
Oh my God. I really enjoyed that moment too, because like seeing that perspective of Torbin's, we see that Torbin willingly gave into it. Like it wasn't like, okay, we're mind controlling you and whatever. Like there is like you have to give me permission to control you type of vibe. I'm like, that's really interesting. I like that. Yeah. He just gave into his dark side because he's not as trained in force defense as you know, the older masters. But
his mind was not as fortified as it needed to be, but then it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
and all throughout, I mean, the episode is called Choice, and it really felt like this whole episode, and really that one moment in particular when they're all together in the sort of central temple there, everybody in that moment like made a choice that probably wasn't the best choice, whether it was Torbin doing what he did or Mother Aneseya kind of morphing into this smoke monster kind of like thing. I still find myself for some reason saying I feel like Soul acted a little too quickly there, but even still, even his choice in that moment to do so rattled him with guilt for all these years.
We cannot forget Indara's choice to be like, bro, you don't even have a Padawan, because you can't tell me that didn't spurn a little yearning in Soul's belly to get a Padawan. I think he just was like, oh, I'll get a Padawan. I'll get a Padawan, all right.
I'll show you.
That's a really good point. Whitney, I think that's like speaks to a higher point of like a lot of Star Wars is based on this weird thing that people are going to hold to their vows in the face of like vicious mockery. Like the Jedi are all like, well, there's a Jedi code. So even if I speak to you terribly or, you know, keep you sidelined or keep you on a planet where you don't want to be, you're going to obey this code until you die because you're a Jedi, right? And it's like, how many times do they have to touch the hot pot and get burned by the fact that it's like, well, there's still sentient beings with emotions and impulses and whatever. So it's like, no matter how much you want to say, you'll do the right thing in the end, or you'll listen to me even after I insult you or straight up deny what you want or tell you that you're never going to get what you want because it's stupid. Yeah, it's kind of like how people in the real world would react. It's like beat them down, beat them down, beat them down, and then be surprised when they fight back. So I don't know. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, I really enjoyed just seeing like, you know, just a different side of the Jedi this episode. And also having my Coral theory of Coral being alive somewhere sort of confirmed here, because like we did not see her amongst the bodies with the witches. We saw her just disappear after seeing her wife get impaled by Soul. Because he thought May was Osha in that moment. He was like, Osha, watch out. And like, because he couldn't tell the difference between the two girls for some reason, even though they look completely different.
Exactly. Which is, again, just so insane. Because when they're all grown up, sure, they look identical. But when they're children, how do you not tell the difference? Those are two entirely separate looking human beings.
What are you talking about? It's Mary Kay and Ashley Olsen. You can't even tell.
Yeah. In my mind, I honestly thought that was a weird kind of like plot glue to be like, this is why Soul couldn't tell them apart in the previous episode when he thought May was Osha for the first 15 minutes until Basil sniffed her out. See, look, he didn't know the difference when they were kids either. I took it as like just very thin, like plot armor or something. Yeah.
This guy's just bad at twins.
That's right. Plot spackle.
Yeah,
it's like
plot spackle.
They're like, that's okay. We didn't get around to your actual original thoughts on the episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, I, as we all have been waiting in hot anticipation for this episode, the entire series. I knew it was all Soul's fault. I just knew it. I knew it. We all knew it. I knew he was going to have ended up doing some real fucked up shit because this whole story just really felt like it was building up to that to me. So I was like, yep, fucking, I was right. So that was great. I really did enjoy like the mystery finally unfolding. I have been waiting for this moment for so long, it feels, and also not long enough, because I do wish that there were more episodes of this show. And part of that is that this episode, I loved it so much. I had so much fun. I truly did enjoy it. I'm not being a Disney shill. I just really like this show.
Shill alert.
We're shillionaires over here. We getting all our Disney money.
We got our first shill comment on the Pod Awakens last week.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh. That's how you know you've made it. You're a part of the community now.
Yeah. Just remember, that implies that someone thinks that you're doing a good enough job that a giant corporation would pay you to pretend that you're just a fan of
You're doing such a good job acting like you like it. That they think you deserve to be paid millions. However, despite how much I loved this episode so much, there are definitely so many gosh dang plot holes and questions that I have after this. There are many, and I am confused, and I am interested, and I hope that some of these threads get wrapped up, but I don't know if they will. There's one episode left, and I still need to see Chimere full frontal nudity. So I don't know if we'll have time to explain all this shit after that, you know?
I know that we spent 5 hours last week talking to you off camera, Whitney, but I have to reiterate on camera, I don't think they're going to let him get away with it. I think you have to go back to your internet drawings. You need to go to your subreddits and your Twitter fan pages, you're going to have to get it there unless Disney makes a hard turn. And like I said, until Thomas O'Malley from Aristocrats hangs dong, then I don't want to see anyone else do it.
I don't want to see it at all.
Hashtag release the dong cut, man.
I agree.
Now, guys, I want to pose a question about a pretty pivotal moment in the show, which is that we find out that May's reasoning and Chymere's sensing of Soul's guilt was a major secret that he was hiding. The secret is revealed to be that he killed May and Osha's mother. But to me, it's like that is a perfectly acceptable, deep, dark secret. But as we were saying off camera, and I want to make the point on camera, it feels to me like in this day and age, we're just expecting these twists to be so much more severe, right? Like it's these massive 180-degree shifts. Instead of it just being a scared, flawed Jedi overreacting to what he perceived as a threat, it seems as though many critics of the show or many just fans of Star Wars or many just fans of prestige TV or streaming services want it to be like, no, Soul needed to secretly be a Sith master or something like that, or Soul needed to be in league. It's like, I felt to me that twist or that reveal was a perfectly good reasoning for we now know why May dislikes him so much, right?
Like fucking hates him and all of them because they were complicit and they covered it up. They were part of like the cover up.
And not only that, but now she realizes that like, she can put two and two together and realizes he's led Osha her entire life to believe that this was all May's fault and that May killed her parents. And whereas he deliberately killed, he specifically says, May killed your parents in a fire, right?
May
like that's
started a fire. Yeah, that's what he says.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty damning, and I think especially with like Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff and DC stuff and the Game of Thrones and all of that, The Boys is extreme because it's parody almost, but it's like I think we're just conditioned to have the twists be so much more crazy because the worlds are so much more crazy, and I feel like this show has done a good job of being like a crime mystery and having droids and aliens and giant humanoid weasels that sniff out scents of people or badgers that sniff out identities of people. I think the show's done a really good job of balancing those two worlds together. And I felt like that was a perfectly sufficient thing. Now, I asked a question and then talked for 4 minutes. What did you guys think?
I'm with you on the fact that not everything has to be like this earth-shattering reveal that's going to change the future of Star Wars forever type thing. But do you guys feel that there was enough in sort of this episode and in Soul's explanation, which was told through the lens of this episode, to warrant May changing her mind on anything?
No.
Because
no. Why would she?
I think
May's right.
Well, it seems like that's what they're trying to lead us to believe is going to happen.
Right.
There's going to be where Osha is sort of seduced to the dark side and May is the opposite. Yeah. So I'm definitely with you on not everything has to be this big glamorous reveal. Star Wars has shown us that a lot in history. It's sort of the what is that? Occam's razor?
Yeah, Occam's razor is like whatever the most likely scenario is the truth.
So that's like Star Wars has tended to be like that, at least on screen far more often than not. So I'm with you. I will admit there was a little part of me that was left a little lacking in terms of not knowing how they're going to then stitch this all up in 30 more minutes.
I kind of agree with you. I kind of felt like even knowing this was going to be a flashback episode in our penultimate episode space, I guess I wanted a little more to wonder for this next episode. For all we know, Acolyte has been renewed for season 2, and they're going to end this on a like Manny Jacinto and Osha racing off in some sort of ship in pursuit by Saul and May. It's like, for all we know, that's going to be how this ends. And then we're going to find out, the Acolyte will return. And then we're going to get 8 more episodes to dive into this mystery. And I hope that they genuinely do something along those lines, because I think there's so much more to explore with Chymere's character, unless it's just meant to be one of those characters that's just is like pastless. Like it's like the Joker, where it's like there is no true past to him. He's just anarchy. Yeah. But I kind of feel like a total wrap up of the series is going to be another Secret Invasion for me if they try to just land it completely.
If they just try to figure this out in one ep, I'm going to be like, bro, please don't. Anything but that.
Please take your time.
There just need to be more episodes this season. I think that's a fumble that I would point out. That's not a plot hole, but it is a fumble in my opinion. The thing that I need them to explain so badly because I'm just like, how does it work? How do you lightsaber stab someone who's turned into smoke? How? That's a magic trick. You're a magician. That's not Jedi mind tricks. That's magicianry. That's not even witch magic. That's magicianry.
Maybe the smoke is the illusion.
Maybe
the smoke is the illusion, you know? But we never asked the witch to explain her tricks.
I know you're not supposed to, but I'm asking. Come on, Whitney. I'm asking. I want to know.
And you're right, Whit, because you would in that moment, you would think it was basically her transferring all of her essence into or with, because we saw that May too kind of started to do the same thing. She was like smoking and almost like fading away a little bit. Whatever was going on there, we gotta know. That's not something.
I just want to know what happened.
Well, and that has to be some dark magic, right? Like that's got to be a dark magic thing, because May, like Osha doesn't have that skill, I don't think, right? Like it's like only May, because she had just recently gotten anointed with the spiral, has the ability to do that. Now, before we talk about our amazing sponsor, which for once today is an incredible sponsor that I'm very proud of, I want to ask you guys real quick, just a speed lightning round. I don't necessarily know that the problem is length or amount of episodes. Do you guys think that some of the issues with these Disney Plus series feeling rushed could be solved by longer episodes, hour-long minimum episodes, kind of Game of Thrones style, where like we're coming in at 54 minutes minimum? That's a big suggestion I've heard. Like it's like Disney's probably never going to wrap their brain around a like 13 episode season of something, but is it just a matter of like no more 29-minute episodes? Like maybe like. Let's set the minimum at 45 minutes or something like that. Like,
yeah, I would take a solid 45 to 54. Let's go.
It's almost as though like even 9 episodes for this series would feel like if there were 2 more episodes left, I'd feel better. I really hope that next week's episode, my hope for this series is that it's a comma, not a period.
Cautious optimism, baby. Let's dive in.
I've never been burned by that before in the Disney Plus. What do you guys think about that, though?
I do think so, Tommy, but I feel like Disney, in a lot of cases, not just with Star Wars, really with a lot of the shows, has done themselves no favors as well with the time that they have.
Sure.
Like, I think about the episode 3 of this show and this episode that we got. I just don't feel like it was structured the best way. I don't feel like the reveals were enough in this to warrant 2 whole episodes dedicated towards it. And that's just one little example. We don't have to go all down that rabbit hole. But just I feel like as much as, yes, more time would benefit, I think there could be a little more useful sort of way in the way that they disperse the time that they do have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because they only have so much that like you almost have to have kind of a wonky sort of structure sometimes. But
and there was a Marvel show that did that. Was it WandaVision? Something. I feel like there was a Marvel show where some of the episodes were longer and some of them were like
WandaVision had longer episodes. I think the first 2 episodes of WandaVision were pretty shockingly short, though. I feel like the first episode was like 29 minutes long, and it was like, oh wow, yeah. But I think you're right. I guess it's also criticism in this age of criticism in the internet. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if they make longer episodes, people will just say like they're not doing anything with these long episodes. So best of luck to the good people at Disney. We're praying for you guys to pull through this tough time. And I hope Bob Iger can just afford to have Christmas this year. Speaking of Christmas and gift ideas, you're not going to want to miss this sponsor.
Listen, aren't you guys tired of taking the bus? Aren't you guys tired of driving a car? Me too. That's why I have a pocket scooter. It's a scooter that fits in your pocket, all right? Listen, I know what you're thinking. Why not just a pocket skateboard? It's because I'm old and I need the stability of a stick. And I need a scoot, all right?
Wait, MT, am I to understand that you are riding this pocket scooter, actually?
I am riding it. You pull it out, you dip it in some water, it grows like astronaut food.
It's like a magic
There we go.
Yes, just like the dinosaur eggs.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm invested.
Let me ask you this. I have to assume something like that's going to cost what? $15,000? $20,000?
Wrong. For the low price of $100,000, you can
substantially more.
Steal. Absolute steal.
Are there real diamonds or gold on this pocket scooter? Is there something that would justify the 95 or 85% increase in the suggested retail price?
No.
pretty high
this
for a
is
pocket
actually
scooter.
made in a distant country for 25 cents.
Wow. Now, those are margins that anyone could get behind. Even Mark Cuban of Shark Tank.
Capitalism, baby.
Pocket scooters. Buy it today.
We better launch our Patreon soon because I got to get me one of those pocket scooters.
I got to get a pocket scooter. If you use promo code SCOOT at checkout, your pocket scooter price will actually go up another 30%.
Wow.
So
exactly.
make sure to do that.
Best deal you can
the value
get.
only increases. The value of a pocket scooter never decreases.
When it comes to pocket scooter pricing, the limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist.
My phone is blowing up already, and we haven't even published this episode. I'm getting a ton of text messages.
Everyone's texting me.
People are wondering, is this made by Tesla? This seems like an Elon Musk prank, is what I'm hearing.
The streets are saying it's going to be the next Cybertruck, so take that for what.
Oh my God.
Oh my fucking God.
I want to go back into the episode. We really got to see 3 Jedis that we've gotten character development for. We got more of Kelnacca, although I do want to give myself a pat on the back. It was shown in the preview that Torbin and a Wookiee were going to be fighting at some point. I did say his scars were going to be from Kelnacca, and I'm very proud to say I was correct in that.
Yeah,
and,
you did. You got that one.
At an old job of mine, we used to do a segment called What We Got Right, What We Got Wrong. And I'll tell you right now, I would be crowing what I got right.
I feel so bad for Kelnacca because, like, he was the only chill Jedi in this episode. Like 16 years ago, he was just like, I'm just doing a job, picking up grass, picking up balls.
I'll tell you what, Kelnacca was smoking some of the stuff he was finding, I guarantee you. Kelnacca was finding that plant life, and he's like, what can I smoke? What can I ingest? What will give me this hairy chest?
That's why I would be so easily seduced by a coven of beautiful women, and that is because of the amount of weed that I smoke.
Kelnacca was like, yeah, I'll rip these guys apart, no problem.
Hungry.
He was even planning to come out with his own strain before this whole thing started.
Before everything went down.
Yo, you smoking that Kelnacca? Holy shit.
Kelnacca blinkers go crazy.
Yo, Torbin, roll one up for me.
We're all fired up on that Kelnacca, bro.
Honestly, Kelnacca sounds like a really great name for a strain. Also, Torbin.
The Torbin strain.
Dara's name pretty much sounds like a kind of weed.
Yeah, Indara already sounds like indica. Yeah. I think that's indica perfect. And then we can have Soul Tiva.
Oh my God. Soul Tiva and Indara.
Indara and Soul Tiva. Oh my God. Disney, what are you doing? Come on, get on this.
Some weed company partner with us.
And when you mix the two, you might jump into hybrid space.
Oh my God. This is so fun.
Come on, man.
Yeah, is this whole show just like somebody's weed dream and we just not realizing it?
Yeah.
This shows an example of like a COVID writer's room where the writers were not beholden to like be in front of anyone. They just wrote everything and sent them via email. So they're all just getting so high all day. They're like, what if the show was a metaphor for weed? And then, in the 7th episode, we have them all grabbing a bunch of weeds and shoving them in boxes. And then we shove our weed in boxes. Then it'll be great.
It'll be amazing.
You're hired.
No, you're higher.
You're hired.
You're hired. That's hilarious.
I did enjoy the Kelnacca fight.
Yeah, I did too. Oh my God. More fun lightsaber choreographies. Just inject it right in my veins for crying out loud.
I really do like the lightsaber stuff this season. But one major thing that I do want to talk about that was mentioned is that how the Coven built their whole shindig on an old mining site on Brendok. And I find that really interesting because we know that cortosis metal is this, a big thing with Chimere. And like, I definitely feel like Chimere has, some ties to the witches because we learned in a previous episode that like he can get into your head, much like the witches can. And he kills a Jeki with a triangle formation. There's triangles all over the Coven for some reason. Triangles are a big thing with the Coven. So like, I'm thinking that maybe that planet we see Chimere and Osha on, it could possibly be Brendok post the explosion of this mine, because like in the book Thrawn Alliances, something similar happens when Anakin Skywalker visits the planet Mokij. He blows up the cortosis mine there, and that completely fucks up the planet. Cortosis metal like heated up the planet and like made a bunch of lava. Anyway, the point is, I think that the waters of Brendok could have risen and created this oceany planet that Chimere is now living in. He's just living in a cortosis cave and like making a cortosis helmet off of the metal there. I just find that to be really interesting anyway.
I think you're right. Like, there's got to be some significance to it being on an old mining colony. Right. Like, it's got to mean something, right? Everything always means something in Star Wars, and that's perfect sense. What were they mining?
Yeah, it was a very weird line to just throw in there if it was just not going to be.
Just to justify the one elevator, they're like, this is a mining lift.
God, we got to explain the one elevator here. How are we going to do that?
Whitney, you've made this point so many times, but damn, Torbin's hairline was so tight, and that gilt just receded that thing back straight up to
just really
I mean, he had a straight up Jerry curl in this episode. Like, his hair was
incredible. Like, the amount of guilt it takes to give yourself that hairline. Like, oh, bro, get some Ativan. I beg of you. Like, please calm down. Like, that is not healthy or normal. That's why you were in a coma for 10 freaking years.
Yeah.
Torbin.
And here we are now. Entertain us. We are rolling into episode 8. I've expressed my fears, but it's because I've been burned before by the hot stove of Disney Plus. I really enjoy this show. I have, like any sane watcher and any sane fan, there are some things I like more than others. I think the vitriol for this show is absolutely insane. It having 89 negative reviews before the episode even dropped last night on IMDb is just a testament to that we're living in the time of some of the most unhappy people on earth. We have people that
it was such a fun episode. We got a bunch of mysteries solved.
Absolutely.
And they were the mysteries that I wanted to be solved. I was like, I know it's going to be Soul. I just don't know how he did it. And then they told me how he did it. And I was very happy with that.
I agree the episode was fun, but even if it had been just okay, people going in ahead of time in review bombing is so silly to me.
If you watch it and you don't like it, all right, you can have that opinion. That's fine with me. I don't give a shit. If you don't like the same things as me, that's okay. It's okay for other people to like different things in their individual lives.
All good to let people like stuff.
But I don't understand going in before you've even seen something and judging it, or just hearing about it from other people and judging it without having watched it yourself is also.
I think it stems from a lot of personal misery, and also they were going to not like it no matter how it turned out. They would have found something to complain about if it had been the complete opposite show.
I am praying to God that the finale of this series ends with Osha and May dying and then being reincarnated into Anakin Skywalker.
Come
on! The greatest thing ever, because every single angry Star Wars nerd would explode.
It's young Palpatine going to their grave and swirling up their essence in twin tornadoes.
Mecha high ho into Anakin Skywalker.
And that's why Anakin and Padme had twins, because the twins were inside him all along.
Exactly.
There was no way he couldn't knock her up double.
And an even smoother R&B song comes on in the post credits or in the credits of episode 8. It's just a straight up Sade getting busy music song is what I want. But before we leave, which we must do soon, how about just one quick prediction for the finale from each of us? MT, what do you got?
I honestly do think that Osha and May are going to die in the finale. If there is no season 2, I think that they're both gonna unite, hold hands, and say their little chant and stand up against their mother Coral, who I think will be revealed as Kymir's former master, who gave him whatever insight he needed to become one of the leaders of the Knights of Ren, because there is a Knights of Ren connection there, and I feel like this could be the origins of that cult. Who knows? That's my prediction for that episode. But what do you guys think?
They've been very intentional playing that Kylo Ren theme,
right,
numerous times. It wasn't just a one-off thing. Now they've done it in every episode since 5, I think.
It's because he's sexy. It's just a sexy theme for sexy dark side boys. It's just the shirtless, it's just the titties out theme. That's all it is. That's the only symbolism, the only reference here is there, and that's what it's going to be, because like we've learned in this series, the simplest explanation is often the answer in this show. And I think the simplest explanation is that they are playing that music to get freaky.
It has nothing to do with story. It's just that the music organizer was like, if he's going to have his shirt off, it's got to be a Kylo Ren theme.
It's be this Kylo theme.
Sorry. Ron, you got any predictions for us?
Yeah, I think that Vernestra Rowe is going to ultimately pin this whole thing on Soul, which is going to be why it was all covered up in this this whole thing doesn't really come to light in the way that it definitely actually should.
Do you think Soul goes off into exile, or do you think Soul gets...
Oh, yeah, he's going somewhere. Yeah.
He's
but it's not
fired.
His ass is getting fired.
At this point, he has to, sacrifice himself, right?
Well, I like that. Whitney, any last predictions other than the connection to the Kylo Ren theme being nipple based?
Yeah, that's my main prediction. But my other thing that I want to find out. So this is kind of like a two-parter. This is I want to know what happened to all the witches that were trapped in Kelnacca's mind when he died.
See, that's a really, really great point. I was thinking about that last night. I like that.
The witch essence escape? Did it die when Kelnacca died? Because before they all died, when the connection was severed with Kelnacca in the beginning, so that he had the witch's consciousness in there. So do they just all fly out like a cute little ghost and then they go haunt people with their witchiness?
Aww.
Are we about to get some people regenerating their bodies?
Because we also see him making the markings of the witches on
exactly.
the wall.
Which I think he was possessed by witches when he was doing that.
That's a really great, interesting point.
Oh,
I like that a lot. What if during the entire time Kelnacca was away, he was training other Wookiees to be witches? He's like, Wookiee witches.
What if he was just Kelnacca the teenage witch and he was just really going for it?
This Hocus Pocus 3 idea is crazy.
Hocus Pocus 3 with Wookiees.
Hocus Pocus 3, Wookiee edition.
My prediction, of course, is that Basil is Plagueis. Basil is Plagueis. Plagueis is Basil. Then that, my friends, is how we land this ship. That is the end. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ron, for being our guest.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Where can we find you on the internet?
All that good stuff. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on again. It was a blast being able to chat with all of you again. We'll be doing it again next week on our show. And MT, you're more than welcome to join as well if you got the time.
Getting an invite. Pod Awakens, baby. We're going to do this.
Pod Awakens.
Hell yeah.
The pods come out at night. The pods come out at night. The pods come out at night.
The pods come out
at night.
Okay, but seriously, what's your Twitter and stuff?
My personal Twitter is at Jedi Genasi, Genasi, like the race in D&D. On Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. And our show is at Pod Awakens, the Pod Awakens on YouTube. But for some reason, when you search our show on YouTube, we keep getting shoved beneath the POD discography. So help us get above that.
I'll tell you what, that makes me feel so alive. Deny you. I'll go listen to your pod. I love you, pals. Thank you so much for another galactic adventure. I'm so sad we only have one more week of The Acolyte, but you know what? It's about to be Daredevil season. Whitney and I will be at Comic-Con in San Diego this year.
We will. Come find us. If you come find us, we'll have high fives and maybe prizes. We don't know.
Free high fives, maybe a prize. Definitely high Whitneys and definitely high Tommies. So don't worry about it.
We're going to be walking around San Diego. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah. All right, pals. Take care of your pals. We love you very much.
We love you, pals. Bye.
Bye, everybody.